ACEC is pleased to announce that the early bird deadline for the upcoming Private Market Symposium on Commercial and Residential Real Estate has been extended until Wednesday, February the 9th. That's right, there's still time to register and save in the process to attend this unique event, specifically designed for specialists in land development and engineering, taking place in Scottsdale, Arizona on March 3rd and 4th. If you're engaged in the real estate market, there's no better place to get up-to-date information on economic trends in the real estate industry and trade information with your peers. Again, March 3rd and 4th in Scottsdale, Arizona. To learn more and register, go to www.acec.org. Welcome to Engineering Influence, a podcast from the American Council of Engineering Companies. And this week we are in the middle of new ExCom member orientation, essentially 2 days of intense PowerPoints and departmental briefings on ACEC and its operations. And I'm very, very pleased to be joined by one of our new members of ExCom, Mr. Daniel Larson. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How about you?
Good. Thanks for coming down, and thanks for joining us today. For our audience, we want them to get to know you. Let us know a little bit more about your firm, what you do, and how you got involved with ACEC.
Sure. Again, Dan Larson. My firm is American Engineering Testing. We've been around we just celebrated our 50th anniversary last year. And so we're primarily a geotechnical, construction services, environmental, and building science firm. Mm-hmm. We are based in Minneapolis, St. Paul. We have offices throughout the upper Midwest from Wyoming to Wisconsin, basically. And I've been with the firm about 30 years. So gone through the ranks, came up as an engineer, field engineer, and worked my way into a management role and leadership. And now I'm CEO of the firm. So I've been the CEO for about 4 years. Mm-hmm. I got involved with ACEC early on when I joined AET. Our firm has a long history of ACEC involvement in Minnesota. I'm actually the fourth president that's gone through the ranks of officers in ACEC Minnesota, fourth one of our firm to do that since the mid-'70s. So as very much was instilled in me early on in my career that you need to be involved, and ACEC is a great organization. That's
great. That's something that we like to hear, of course, firms that with leadership transitions, that value of ACEC is communicated throughout that transfer of leadership. That is the case, and thankfully in a lot of situations, but not all. If there was a firm in Minnesota that was on the fence on not really understanding the value proposition that ACEC brings to the table, what would you communicate to them that would kind of make them decide to become a member of ACEC?
Yeah. I've actually had several conversations like that in Minnesota. One of the things I often hear is, well, you're just a transportation organization. And I've been successful with a couple of them to convince them that no, ACEC is not. What they bring to the table, number one, from my perspective, is just that the business of engineering. They get it. They understand that we are all businesses. We practice engineering in other disciplines, but and so when I start talking about the advocacy piece of it that ACEC brings, bring up specific examples with the PPP and some of the other things recently. Yeah, just an incredible effort by ACEC National and our MOs to really look out for our companies, and so that's one of the big things. And then the education piece too. That's a huge one for me. Is what the organization has offered me throughout the years, and then finally the networking piece as well.
Yeah. You're coming in at a really interesting time. I mean, 2022 is a watershed year, really, for not just infrastructure, but projects that are going to go from the public sector and then feed into development and investment in private sector projects as well. With the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, it's a generational investment. A lot of challenge and opportunity that we're looking at here. I mean, in your position as not only as a CEO, but with your experience working at the state level at ACEC and now, of course, with national leadership, What do you think is the biggest challenge and opportunity that we're kind of entering into in this new day of investment?
Yeah. I would say from a challenge perspective, you probably hear this a lot, is really I look at it as how are we going to do all this work?
Yeah.
Finding the good people, the best of the best to join our firms and to help us complete this, kind of this historic level of investment in our infrastructure and other areas, which, like you said, will also transfer into the private sector and down the way. So I think the biggest challenge to me is really being able to differentiate ourselves as an organization to really attract the talent level and keep those people that go into engineering and want to practice engineering, specifically consulting. I think that's the biggest challenge we're going to have.
Yeah, that seems to be unanimous across the board and kind of self-evident. I mean, 82,000 new jobs are expected to be created just in our space because of this bill. Mm-hmm. We know what our multiplier is, and you're looking at downstream in those industries that either support or at some point have a hand in the built environment. I mean, you're over 260,000 new jobs. Where are they going to come from is the question.
Yep.
Now, we have a strategic plan in place, of course. That is a big focus of what we're doing to get that plan from paper into implementation. How important is that in your mind to how ACEC is going to handle a lot of these challenges that are emerging?
I think it's incredibly important. I think we all have to come together too. That I love that ACEC is leading in that area. We have a group of companies in Minnesota that get together and we compete against each other, but we also talk about business issues. And one of the big things we've talked about is this, the talent piece of it. And so I think it's immensely important that we figure out how we can differentiate ourselves, show people that, this is a great career. It's exciting. It's interesting. It's challenging. We can be competitive on a compensation standpoint, everything else. I think that's absolutely paramount to being successful going forward.
Well, I do look forward to working with you in the years, in the weeks and the months ahead, because it's going to be a lot of work and it's going to be a lot of, I think, very, very satisfying work ahead of us. And I do hope that you gain a little bit more insight into national and our organization, and hope you don't suffer death through PowerPoint, but we'll make it worth your while over the next 2 days. Dan Larson, thank you so much for taking some time out of the morning and joining us on the program.
Great to be with you.
And again, this has been Engineering Influence, a podcast from the American Council of Engineering Companies. We'll see you again soon.